I've had some technical issues. Truth be told, this is the brand new first time that I've used this platform. So I am using Restream, and I'm going to see if I'm able to add my guest here, Karenna. So let me see if I can do this here. Mute here. There we are.
Yay!
Lovely. We are rocking. About that, Karenna. I appreciate your patience with me. So thank you for those that are joining me at this time. For those that may not know me, my name is Lorraine Appleyard, and I am a psychic and a medium. And today I wanted to have the opportunity to talk to this lovely medium, Karenna Lakshmi. Now, I believe that mediumship is a gift. I believe it is a gift of healing, and it's a gift of love. And I have found that many people on their spiritual journey that enter into mediumship have done so because of challenges, because of losses in life, and seeking answers, seeking healing. And I have come upon Karenna in my journey, and I feel that she has an amazing story to be able to tell. And it is my hopes for those that are listening that they will be inspired and that they too will receive healing or hope or the further understanding that after the physical world, we do continue to live. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Karenna. Thank you for joining me today, Karenna.
Thank you for having me. It's the honor.
Do I have you? I don't have your sound, dear. Oh, you know what? I need headphones. That's
okay. So now I can't hear you.
You can't.
Oh, now
Did you hear me before?
Yeah. I can hear you. Oh, can you hear me?
Because I don't have my headphones. I can. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So, Karenna, I wanted to introduce you, and thank you very much for allowing me to speak with you today. Tell me a little bit about yourself, Karenna, please.
Okay, so I'm Karenna Lakshmi. I am a published author, and I started to connect with angels. To be really honest with everyone, I didn't even know what an angel was. I'm also a sound healer. I do mediumship now, and I really love bringing healing to the community. It's basically the gifts started to come to me after my son crossed over to the rainbow, I would say. The funniest thing is I've always, since young, loved mediums. This is the funny thing. And I obviously didn't know why. And I would be so intrigued. I would watch Sylvia Brown, and I was like, oh my God, then I got her book, and I was really into it. And then John Edwards, and I'm like, God, what's going on here? Like having no idea, right? But, and the funny thing is, I have to say, my mother would get messages, but she never made it a big thing, right? So basically, I'm on my spiritual journey now since the passing of my son. I didn't think that I could do this. And I do feel it is our calling. Like you said, it is our calling. And it wasn't until, the tragedy of my son crossing over, things slowly started to unfold.
So, Karenna, I know that this is a significant part of your journey, obviously, your son passing over. And tell me a little bit please, if you don't mind, a little bit about what happened there and how you received signs from spirit around his passing.
Yeah. So what actually started happening was, just for, you know, those who've lost a loved one, it's different for everyone. I actually, I couldn't put one foot in front of the other. And I had already been through a lot before that, which is in my first book. Journey was very difficult. So I was actually already grieving for what had happened. And it was not of a loss of a loved one to the other side. But little by little, I started to be able to, so basically I froze. My body couldn't move, right? And, but what happened was I was still in shock, but the signs were always there. So I remember after the wake, the family went home. My house was sitting in my living room. And this is actually quite important. I was talking about it the other day. Actually, he gave me this before I came on today, because I've got all this written down to give you in case I don't, you know, there's something that you need to ask me. But what happened was, I'm sitting in the living room, and I was just thinking, like, you know, how could this even happen? And my dog was, I believe it was, I can't think now, Jana or Taz. It was Jana, one of them. Anyway, they're on the sofa, and sorry, I'm on the sofa, and he's on his bed, and all of a sudden I hear whistling, and I'm like, wait, where's that coming from? And I heard whistling and steps down the stairs and the keyring flicking, like flicking of the keyring. And then as I looked again, my dog looked up and I looked up, and I'm like, what? Then that is exactly what my son would be doing if he was here in the physical world. So he was already giving strong messages. But I wasn't, I was just like, how is all this happening? You know, there's so much, because it's in my books, but so it was later on, maybe 6 months later, my friend actually said to me, would you like to go and see a medium? And I was like, yeah. And she says, I've just found a medium and I think she's really good. So, if, you know, I didn't know whether to ask you. And I said, no, let's go. You know, I think it'll be good for me. And so I went to see this medium, and she was good. I have to say, she was good. And I remember going there, and she said to me, what happened to him? And why is it, what happened to your son? And I said, this is me. I don't know, ask him. Because we hadn't got the report back, no, nothing. So I didn't know what had happened to him. And then she, you know, basically I can't give away too much because of my books, but, you know, he came through and he shined his light. He gave all these messages, even for his friends. And for that, I mean, I wasn't healed at the time, I'm not going to lie, but it helped me because I'm like, okay, so he's coming through. Like your soul knows, right? It's just the soul knows. So he came through, and then I went, you know, for a few more readings. I would go to her and I would feel comfort. And I was still grieving, but it helped me. It really helped me. If you've got a good medium, right, I would say, like, make sure, you know, it's a reputable medium, because I've heard horror stories just through the journey of it, like how some people have said stuff. You need to get a good medium. So anyway, she was good, and she did help me. And then it was later on, my other friend said to me, she goes, there's a lady here. Would you, she teaches you about signs from your deceased loved ones. And she said, would you like to go? And I said, sure, let's go. And then she did a class on what signs, like messages with the birds, you know, the dragonflies, all that stuff. And she gave quite a lot. And I was like, okay, so that's when I started noticing signs, that we're getting signs. And then she basically, I got one of her emails, and then the next thing you know, I didn't know what, this is a funny thing about me, but I have to start sharing this again. I was very naive. I don't know how to say it, didn't know about any of this. I knew mediums, but I didn't know what Reiki was. I didn't know what a sound bowl was. I knew nothing. But the angels would bring it into my path the time that it was meant to be.
Right. Yes.
Right. So that time I was learning, then I started learning signs, and I got email like, would you like to take a Reiki class? And I was like, I don't know. My face would, I mean, I was still grieving, but my face would light up. Like, why am I so happy? Like, I want to take this class. Like, and so I took her class, and then I got even more excited. Then I took Reiki too. Then there's actually a funny story about that I could share another time, with affirmations. And then I became a Reiki master, and I used just to light up. But still didn't know why all this stuff was coming in my path. And the next thing you know, I could hit, like, the angels. With me, it was more physical. But they were obviously in my head, but I wasn't getting it because it was all new. I remember driving, and I said to my husband, "I've got to go." And he goes, "Where are you going?" I said, "I don't know." And he goes, "Well, will you stay at home and do the thing?" Because I thought my daughter was supposed to do hair. And I said, "I don't know." And I just left. I don't know where I was going. I just was guided. And now I'm feeling an out of body experience. And I'm saying, "Oh my God, something's wrong with me. I don't feel good. I don't know what's going on." And I'm driving and I'm talking, and I just end up driving into this, to a shop. It's a closing down sale. And there was a statue of an angel, really dusty. And it was a gold angel. And I said to whoever it was, I said, and it was on clearance because we had a few financial issues at the time. And I said, "Okay, I'm going to take her." And looked around, didn't see nothing else, and I brought her home. And what happened was I brought her home, and then I would get, they would always give me confirmation 3 times to prove that this is truth, that they want people to know this is the truth. So I would always get 1, 2, 3 confirmation, and then I started slowly getting it. Okay, so now this is where they want me to be. This is where I should be going. And it wasn't until I saw another lady and I said to her, I don't know, she's an astrologist, and she's very good. And I said to her, Pat, something's wrong. I don't know what's wrong with me. And then she said to me, you're over there, you're up here, you need to start grounding. And she gave me the CD. Everything happened like when it's supposed to. And then when I started grounding, then I was like, oh, I feel better now. I didn't know what grounding was either.
So you really feel that you were guided all along by spirit, given signs, it's just that you didn't recognize?
Yeah.
They were at the time?
Yeah, so I didn't.
Would you be getting?
I'm sorry?
What kind of signs would you be getting? You would say that things would pop up in your path?
Yeah. So it would be like, so like I said, it's in my other books, but there was like, so I brought the statue home, and then they would show me hearts, right? And then I would open a magazine, and there would be a heart. It was shaped of dollars, but it was a heart. And then the other one was great. So my friend, her name's Tammy, she's an artist, and she said to me, this is when I, later on, when I opened up my business, my shop, and she said, I want to give you something. So she put her hand she had paintings in there. She put her hand in the car. She goes, this is for you. The same angel, the painting.
No way.
I swear, I post all this. And so this angel, so please, I have to, say to, whoever's here, please believe in the angels, because they exist. And I didn't know what an angel was, but, have trust, right? Give your sorrows to the angels. They will help you, right? What did I say before that? I was going to tell you something.
So you about the signs and the angels helping you and putting things within your path?
Yeah, so that's how they would do it. And then later on, what they would do was work through electronics, right? Work through electronics.
I find a lot of people get messages from their loved ones through electronics.
Yeah. And the thing is, the signs are everywhere. So funny enough, you know how we get messages before, right? So I have my sweatshirt that I keep wearing, and it keeps saying, create your own path. So, so the signs are everywhere, really, aren't they? It's just that we have to It's like I needed someone to explain it to me. The angels were doing it their way, and that's how I was getting it. And that's how the angels were explaining life isn't supposed to be perfect. And in my shop, I would buy stuff, and they would always send me to clearance. This is the funniest thing. I've got the best things in clearance. Right? I never had to spend a lot of money. And they would show me, look, life isn't supposed to be perfect, and there would be a crack in something.
Oh,
so
lovely.
yeah, there would be a crack, and I'm like, okay, then I started understanding. And then I remember being in the shop and saying, so me being me, I have the Om sign, I have Jesus, and I have Blessed Mother, I have all the like universal. And I remember sitting in the shop saying, wow, I don't know how to explain this to anyone, so someone needs to help me out here. And that's when I heard Ascended Masters, because I didn't know what Ascended Masters were.
Okay. Now, that's interesting that you said that you would get a sign coming to you 3 times in order to prove to you that, yes, this is real.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I find it interesting, too, that you're talking about not being aware about the signs. But I feel that a lot of times that we're actually getting signs from spirit, but we're just not tuned into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or we get our conscious rational mind stepping in and just say, no, that's just a coincidence, that's not real. But you feel that your son, he continues to make signs, to be present with you?
So yes, he used to give signs, and some beautiful signs were, like, my clients know this. I remember being in the, so there's 2 that I can give you. Let me just write this down, I'm going to forget the birds. So one was, I know where I came from. I was always in the kitchen. I came home, and I was in the kitchen, and I'm like, I start to cook. That's what I used to do, right? I start cooking, and all of a sudden, I'm like hearing this bird outside, and I'm like, this bird is really loud. This is not normal. Again, oblivious. I go outside, and the bird is really loud. So I'd let my dog out. So Jana, her name is. I looked at her, and I'm like, well, she's fine. She's over there by the bush. Now, she was getting older then, so her eyesight wasn't great. So then I come back in, but she's fine. Start cooking again. The bird, really loud again. Bird wouldn't stop. So I went outside, and the poor little thing, she got stuck in the bush because she couldn't see properly. And I was like, oh no. And then I guided her back in. That was my son working through, saying, because he's very close to my fur babies. So he was basically letting me know, look, she's stuck. And then that's when, it wasn't, if I hadn't taken that class, signs from your loved ones, I probably wouldn't have known. I would have just thought it's a bird making noise. Right? So that was huge. And just a few years ago, it was really cool, because when they say dragonflies, and I didn't even understand why people do show dragonflies. I got it later. But I was dancing in the garden with my granddaughter, like the other music, they were moving, and I'm like, and then there was a dragonfly. It was like it was bouncing on top of us all the time. Didn't go away. It was up there bouncing, but I acknowledged. So I'm like, look, he's still dancing with us because he used to love to dance. Right? Okay. Yeah. So that, so all these little signs, yeah, they are, when it's, especially when it's new, we just have to, that's what we need to learn about how they work through animals.
And I find that remarkable. Many people do talk about receiving signs from their loved ones via animals, and I believe that what it is that's occurring is that spirit person is influencing the animal in order to make a physical presence be known. So is there a particular bird that your son seems to send signs the most with?
Well, normally it's like cardinals, I believe, but listen, my son, he goes the whole way. He's not stopping. Like, he will work through people. He's worked. The best story that I can honestly give you is the one that I share about the raccoons. That's why you'll see a picture with me with a raccoon. I'm so intrigued with them, and I can share that. So I think that may also help. But it was basically.
About the raccoon?
The raccoon, oh my God, it's crazy. All right, so basically what happened was, and I did write this down, so let me hope I get this straight to you clearly. My son's friend was saying he wasn't getting signs, and basically, cut a long story short, I said, listen, you're going to get a sign. Once you ask him, he's going to give you a sign. He texted me that night. I said, you're going to get a sign. He says, oh, my lights are flickering in my bedroom. I said, I told you, don't be scared. You got your sign. So later on, he said, I have something to share with you. This was a while later. He says, I have something to share with you. And he said, I went to a party, and he goes, I went outside, and he was having a smoke. And he said, I sat there, and a raccoon walked up to me. And I was like, okay. But he didn't know this. And he said, and I ended up going to a very quiet place. He went into a meditative state, right? He didn't know. He's an artist. And I really believe that artists are channeling when they're doing the artwork, because it's so great, right? So, and I said, oh, okay. And he goes, he stared at me. The raccoon stared at me for a really long time. But I wasn't scared and I wasn't worried. And then he goes, after a little while, the raccoon walked off. It was later that he told me on his, he had painted with his family a mural on the school wall. He painted a big mural with his family, and my son was the raccoon when he was here in the physical world. Now, they used to play an animal game, and these messages come little by little. I was putting the pieces together, right? Because this is how they used to work with me. They used to play the animal game, which I don't play, but I've learned about it now. And when they would play, they would do the whatever it was, and then my son would be the raccoon. So you can't get a bigger sign, right? Mm-hmm. He worked through the raccoon, and that's why, his friend went into a meditative state, because I'm sure his soul and his soul were connected at the same time, right? For that to happen, because I've had the way that happens naturally with me. I've had that happen at my shop and places, and I'm like, but it happens very naturally, like. So it was natural for me. He didn't know it. And then, so my son, this is something I wanted to share. It's like this, the souls know. Why was it that my son was already giving the signs with the raccoon before even leaving the physical world? That's huge, right? Because he was already giving signs. And then later on, my awakening, I have to say, was when I saw a raccoon getting hurt and on Facebook, and I literally cried for 30 minutes in the bathroom. And it was like, oh my God, that's when I had my awakening, that we're all one, and they all have a soul and all that. Right? But so it started slowly with the angels, right? And then and then the other thing was that it was important that when I was grieving, so for people, so you're in shock, or you can't believe what's happened, your body slows down, your mind goes to a different place. For me, everything became very loud. The TV couldn't be. I used to say, please put the volume down. Everything's too loud. So I didn't even know I was already connected at that time that he's crossing. Didn't know what that was. I understand it now. But I basically, with the angels, I went to look for a book on grief, right? And 20 minutes I stayed at Borders, and I wasn't a person that likes to read, I'm going to be honest, right? But there you go, I'm an author, figure that one out. But I looked at this box, didn't know what it was, and it was in a cabinet, and then I was like, well, and then I started walking out, and on a rack there was a box, and I didn't know what it was, and now I'm staring at it again. I don't know why I'm staring at it. So obviously the angels were connecting with me at the time, and I didn't know. But excuse me, I picked it up, I looked at it, and something said to me, buy it. I was knowing, I don't know. It was like, just get it. I just got it. I went home, I opened it up, and it was a box of angel cards.
Oh, lovely.
And actually, that's the other way the angels were showing me. So as I would do 3 cards for myself every day, and maybe for my son's friends. And it was actually the angels were guiding me through the angel cards. Take a energy class, or take a class for energy healing. And that's why, as I was being guided, was through my cards. The angels could talk to me through my cards. So I'd pull out, or go and time to go and get some healing for yourself. Right. And then, so the angels, they have their ways, right? So the angel card readings, they're spot on, because the angels are working through the energy, right? So they're normally spot on. That was another way.
Has it ever come through in a dream? We have a comment here from a viewer talking about that they've dreamt of their mom who's in spirit. Have you ever had a visitation from your son?
Yeah, so one of my visitations was, there's two. Oh, I want to remember let me just write this down. So there was two. One was when my father was crying every day after his passing. I didn't know this. My father was in a very bad state, right? So, and then and in my dream, my son came to me and he said, "Mom, tell Granddad I'm okay." And I was like, okay. And then the next day I called my sister and I said, listen, I said, how's Dad? I said, because, my son was saying, please tell him I'm okay. And the funny thing is, I called my dad and I said, Dad, he called me and he said, stop crying, I'm okay. He wants you to know he's okay. And then my dad started to laugh. Funny thing is, he doesn't really like this stuff, so I don't say too much to him. But he laughed about it, and then I said, he's fine. He wants you to know he's fine. So yes, he did. The other one, I think I should leave. It was a good experience, but I'm not sure if I should be sharing that right now. But yeah, they definitely come into your dreams. I had learned that the people that don't get that, just ask them to wake you up straight after so that you remember.
That's a good point. Yes.
Yeah, because they will. And the thing is, they're eager. They want to come through to you. It's us in the physical world. Like, if I'm being lazy, I'm not going to hear it, right? So even 2 days ago, there was a message for my husband, and then he said, we had the conversation this morning. I said, oh no, that was for you. That's when I'm grounding and stuff like that. So I mean, I think everyone should take a mediumship class, because everyone should take a mediumship class, because it is our birthright. We are souls. And even if it's just to connect a little bit, like, you go to a good medium, get Reiki for yourself and energy work, do it. Because what I'm learning at this time in my moment, it is so important, learning the mediumship. But for anyone that's grieving, the Reiki helps a lot. It really does help, and I'll share this with you because I think this is important, right? So my Taz, my fur baby, he passed away last year, right? And I just went for a session. I've been guided, and I went to my Reiki master, and then she said to me, this is when we forget stuff, right? So my Taz gave me a magical experience that I telepathically, I spoke to him all the way before it was his time to cross over, right? I had said to him, and this is the other thing that's important, if your loved ones from the other side are waiting for your pets too, your fur babies, your children, right? So I kept on saying, oh, my son's going to be there. Don't worry, he was right with us. I said, he's right with us. He's going to come all the way. You've got nothing to be afraid of. And then Taz said to me, he said, well, what is it like over there? And I heard it very clearly. And I said, he said, it's like the northern lights. The sky is green and pink. It's not like you lot see it blue. I said, but you know what? You're going to come back and tell me. The thing is, he made it such a magical experience. I didn't grieve over him. I used to call him my son. So when I went to my healing session, she said to me, what happened like 6 to 8 months ago? And I said, I don't know. Mine don't know. Good job. My friend was with me.
Right.
And I said, go on my Instagram page and see what happened to me 6 to 8 months ago. She said, it was Taz. And she said, well, and Karen, her name is, she said, she goes, your grief is still here. Can I take it from you? And I said, please do. I said, he made it so magical. I didn't even think about that. I forgot myself as a medium going through everything. because, you know, we loved them so much, but the grief was still there. And it wasn't until a few days later I purged. I purged and I cried and I cried and I cried. But that was my grief having to leave my physical body, right? My energy. So that's why the Reiki really, people don't understand it. And like, listen, I'm the one who was the most naive. I'm the one to listen to it from, because I did not know what this stuff was. I did not know. Everything to do with energy is very, very important. Right? Very, very important.
What I want to really point out with that is that even though you're a medium and you believe very strongly in an afterlife, in the spirit world, even with that knowledge, we still have grief, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we need to release all that, right? So a good medium can do it. Like a good medium, that's your healing session right there anyway, right? But then you need to energetically go for healing sessions too. Right? And this has been around way, way back, right? It's been around way, like, but the thing is, people have forgotten now, and now we need to really get back into it and bring ourselves healing and know that your loved ones are okay. Because if you know that their soul is okay and they live on, you're going to be fine. But if you're closed to it, right? I honestly, in my heart, I don't know how they would heal. I don't know how you heal. I don't know. Through prayer, yes, of course, prayer is powerful, right? But we have to work on ourselves, because we you know, we're on a spiritual journey. We really are in a physical body, right? So I didn't understand that either. Then I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Where you know, so you know, it's kind of good, I suppose, the lessons that I feel I've chosen in life, because if you're so naive to it, and then now you're learning it and everything's opening up for you, you're remembering again, right?
I like that too. Yes, we're remembering. We're remembering that we're spirit incarnated and that we're having this experience, really, truly, this human experience, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's one thing I have learned this, and it's on my fourth book, and I will share this. I'll share it just a little. Because for my first book, when I was writing my first book, I didn't know. I was typing and I looked up and I saw a circle of souls on the other side looking down at me. Sorry, my second book. It was my second book because of the words that I had used then, right? How to live your life, right? After the loss of a child is more mine. This is the thing, right? So change your thoughts, right? We have to change our thoughts. This is the thing. I've got I don't know if that's an eagle or there's a big bird up there. All right. So knowing that we're doing this, right? I'll take that as a confirmation. So in life, we are taught this. We are taught that your children should never leave before you. The parent goes first and the grandparent. Now, that's been programmed into our brains. Somewhere along the line, somebody said that. The soul knows before it comes here. I believe the parents, all our souls know what's going on the whole time. It's the physical part of us that holds us back. But your child can leave at any time. And I could share a lot of stuff at some point, but your child can leave before you. So guard that child, be the guidance for that child, be the parent for that child. But remember that it's the soul, and the soul is on their own individual journey, right? The life lessons that soul is chosen, they've chosen you for a reason. My son obviously knew that I'd be able to handle this situation, right? As hard as it was, and I didn't want to be here, I'm not going to lie, that was very wrong of me to do that. I did not want to be here because I just about had enough by then. I've got spirit blending with me right now. So the angels do want you to hear this because this is huge. We have to change our thought of thinking, because if we're going to go through life thinking, I'm going to go first, I'm the parent, my grandparents are going to go first, the children, you know, they have their own journey to do. So they can leave before you, right? And that's what the world needs to learn, is the soul has a purpose, right? So now that to us as a child, but on the other side, it may not be a child. It's a soul that's been here many times, right?
And I think that's a really good thing to bring, to really emphasize, Karenna, is that we each have our soul contract. and we each are on our own plan or our own soul plan, and understanding that we're here for a reason.
Yeah. And then, you know, if they're leaving early, and the thing is, what I learned was this: I thanked his soul for letting me be part of his journey. I get very emotional, but I thanked him. I was able to thank him from my heart. Thank you for choosing me. Thank you for letting me be part of your journey. Because now he's doing his journey on the other side, and he's helping a lot of people from there. And we have both done a healing session to somebody, you know. So I actually had I was going to do Reiki long distance, and his friend didn't turn up. It was a reading for her. I figured it out. Okay, she's busy. I heard she's busy. So I said, you know what? Let's both you're blending your soul with mine. Let's send this lady healing from both of us. We sent it for 3 minutes, and I texted her, how you feeling? She goes, fantastic. So there's so many ways that our loved ones can be with us, work with us, serve with us, I should say, and do the journey with us. They walk with us.
I think that that's really key, Karenna, is understanding that even though we may be a parent or the child of a parent, but understanding that each soul comes in with their own soul conscious, with their own soul learning, and anything can occur, but we're there to be able to give guidance and support and to allow that soul's own contract, learning and healing to unfold. We're simply loving and supporting one another through this journey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's taken me 12 years to learn this, right? So it didn't happen overnight.
Okay. Well, that's a really good thing to be able to point out too, because I know that there are certainly people that will be listening that are on their own healing journey. And let's face it,
We all are, yes. And I'm still here. I'm still working on myself with other stuff.
Absolutely. And me as well. And so when you talk about being on this journey for 12 years, it makes me feel that we're still always healing to some degree, right? And we can't rush that process.
And the other thing, you know, which is really important to know, people don't believe in past lives, but we can carry on trauma, which I'm just learning this now. I didn't know. And you also want to heal from your past lives, right? For the future. So past life regression and all that, removing energy blocks. That's where I am right now. I don't grieve for my son because he's with me. I just have to call him when he turns up. And honestly, that's a God's truth. Did I know I was going to be doing this? No. I can only share my experiences, right? From how it, for me, the one big thing I have to say, you know, Dr. Hugh Len, right? Dr. Hugh Len, the Ho'oponopono. I know I say that wrong. I hope I don't. I was writing it down. I've got to say this right. Ho'oponopono, I want to say it like that. The Hawaiian psychiatrist. I did once, so again, my Reiki master, so I went to quite a few of her classes and I learned quite a lot. And as soon as she taught me that, I started doing it every single day. Yes. Right? And things started unfolding for me because what I was doing was, without even knowing, I already started working on myself. This was probably a year after he passed to the other side. So basically what I was doing was I was doing a clearing the whole time. And there's something really nice happened for me and my family. And I was like, oh my God, it works. Right? So that's probably going to be like, maybe if you want to teach it, whoever wants to teach it, to teach it right, because it's very simple. You don't want to complicate it. But just doing that. And if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, if you Google Dr. Hugh Len, he's a psychiatrist in Hawaii. He's passed on the other side now, but I'm sure he's working from there. But it's very powerful mantra, however you want to put it, a prayer, whatever you want to put it. Very powerful.
The Hawaiian prayer, yes, the Hawaiian prayer of releasing, isn't it?
Yeah, he basically he cut a long story short. I don't know how much time we have, but he went to, there was a hospital with very badly mentally ill patients, and he didn't even. Yes, that's it. And he just did his thing, right? He didn't even look at the patient. He didn't have to see him. The ward was cleared. The people actually healed, left, because it was a clearing that he was doing, right? So, and that's a huge one.
It is. And I feel that what that really demonstrates is that we carry energy that can be denser or lower vibration without even knowing. And a lot of that is unforgiveness of the self, unforgiveness of others, that really we need to be able to release.
But there's only one thing with that. You have to, it's very simple. It's so simple, so easy. You can do it every day, but you don't want to confuse it and start getting your mind in there, your thoughts in there. You can't do that. So that's why when I teach my clients, or I would teach them, I would say, please keep it simple, or you can reverse it, because I did the course, right? So just keep it simple. Sometimes the simplest things are the easiest and the best, right? So, but that was definitely one of them that did help me with my grief. That definitely did.
And I appreciate you bringing it up, Karenna, especially because I know that when people are watching this and those who have suffered extreme loss, to be able to understand how to heal themselves so that they can start being able to receive these kinds of experience, and to feel the love in the spirit world, to feel that you had that particular experience, and to be able to help others on their journey. Very, very important.
And the right people will come in your life at the right time. So, you know, when you're grieving, don't stay at home and just, you know, it's really hard. It's hard. I was very lucky because I had like good friends. Like my friend would take me everywhere when I couldn't drive and stuff like that. So reach out for help. Do not be around people that are argumentative or harsh, because at that time your mind is not ready to face the world. But if you can have nice people around you that are gentle, loving, that makes a lot of difference. Because if anybody had shouted at me at that time, even after years later, my head used to feel like it was going to blow up. So I had to basically be around people that were like not harsh. That wouldn't have been good for me, because I really honestly could have had a breakdown. So surround yourself with people that are good to you. Try and get out of the house. You know, just go go to a spiritual church, or, you know, find a good medium, or there's so many classes that you really can take. And start your spiritual path, because that's what you really come here to do. And I get it. Listen, I used to be one of those people. Oh yeah, I never put down a medium. That one thing I will say, I loved mediums. But when I was naive to the world, how the world was thinking, right? But I had to obviously pick very hard lessons. But listen, when you start learning it, your world is a different place. You don't want to be in that world. You know, of course you want to, you know, enjoy your nice favorite TV show, whatever you want. But I'm just saying, like, so if you start working on your soul, like I said, if I'm not grieving for my son, right, it's because I have worked on myself. But then I've been given another challenge. Here we go again, right? So that's okay. I understand that. But it is just putting that one foot in front of the other is to start, right? If you can do that, just do that one foot in front of the other. Start 3 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. Everybody's different. But see if you can find your own soul purpose here, because that's what you really come here to do.
I love that. That's wonderful. Yes, I couldn't agree more. To find your own soul purpose.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Karenna, I'd like to just thank you again for sharing your story, because it is a very profound story.
Thank you.
Tell me, if people want to read your book or to follow you, where might they find you, please?
So kgdivine.com is one of my, and then you can go on my Facebook pages and Instagram. The book is on Amazon. It's called Life in the Suburbs Is No Fairy Tale, by Karenna, Lakshmi, myself. So you can go and you can buy the book there. And there's I haven't done the audio yet. what do you call it?
Yeah, the audio.
So I haven't done the audio, but it's the Kindle. So you can go there and get it. I think like reading my story and what my journey was then, it wasn't easy before that. So, but then the second and they're not published, but the second, third, and the fourth book, which was just recently, was guided. And the fourth one is about changing your thoughts, because literally what happened was, this is why I was sharing this, is because I was downstairs. I'm busy in my house, my granddaughter, my family, right, doing stuff. And I literally, there was three angels behind me. They were behind me. They guided me up the stairs into this room. And I sat here and I typed for 3 hours nonstop. And I don't know. I'm just like, okay, let's go, because And then that was really one of the things that I shared today about, well, a few of the things that I shared about your journey. But,
do you have one particular angel that works with you more?
Yeah. So the angel that I first started to connect with, so basically, she's the angel. I later on found that she was the angel, the one in the Bible that used to stir the waters. And then I later found out that that's Archangel Raphael, angel of healing. That's the angel that was guiding me, was the angel with healing first. And now, obviously, I work with the other angels.
Lovely. All right. I'd like to thank you very much again, Corinne, for joining me today and sharing your story. And I hope that for anyone that's listening at this time, that they were able to receive some guidance and inspiration from it, because I find it particularly inspiring, just being a mom and being in complete awe of how you might have been able to navigate it through that grief. So thank you very much for sharing your story.
Well, thank you for letting me share. I really appreciate it. It's been a while. I haven't been on Facebook Live for a bit because I'm working on other stuff right now that's I've been having to do. But thank you so much for having me. And just so everybody knows, I took a class with Lorraine, and it was amazing. I did a course, like 6 weeks or whatever. It was really good. Yeah, so I appreciate it.
I have one question here. I see Laura reference. What's the question, Laura?
Wait, I couldn't hear that. Did you ask me something?
Yeah, there's a question here in the chat. Laura, what's your question?
Maybe it's gone down, right?
Let's see if she comes with a question. If anyone else is watching, if they have a question,
yeah, of course.
Before we finish up. That is a good question. And I feel that teaching children how to ground, would you agree, Karenna? How to teach them how to sort of manage their energy would be very important. And for me, really,
yeah, I agree completely. Because kids they're born with a gift. We're all born with a soul, right? We're all born with it, and it goes away from the age of 7 or 8. You get told, right? The way to I feel that they should have their gift, because they can open up better and better and not be afraid later on in life, right? Because you're going to see more. Everything's going to open up more, right? So they explain to them they're a soul in a human body, right? But the soul is so magnificent, and the world would be a better place.
And so not only are they a soul in the human body, but that the soul, as being part of that divinity, is powerful and is able to by that very essence, to be able to protect themselves. So once you have the understanding that you are a soul, that you are light, that you yourself are divine, then that means that really nothing else can harm you. And it's that power of that knowledge that protects, that protects us.
Yeah, I would have them shield themselves, but you come with gifts, right? So imagine being able to share your gifts before, like, having to wait till you're an adult.
Right. So not to go through that period of time where you become, you know, a lot of people lose those gifts, lose that awareness because it's we get this cultural imprint upon us.
That's it, 100%.
Yeah. So thank you, Laura, for that question. And again, Karenna, I'd like to thank you again for joining me and just allowing me to talk with you and share this experience. It really is a pleasure, and it's just wonderful to be able to get to know you and the beauty of your soul. So
Oh,
thank
thank
you very
you.
much.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor. Thank you so much.
Okay. And I wish you very much love, Karenna, and thank you very much for watching, everyone. Once again, this is Karenna Lakshmi, and you can connect with her on Facebook, and she has her book out on Amazon that you can check out also. And I wish you all very many blessings.
Thank
Bye for
you.
now.
Thank you.